Welcome to Chapter 3, where we'll take a look at resizing images, cropping images, and we'll get into something a little bit technical called interpolation methods or resampling methods. But it's all good stuff, so let's go take a look. Okay, so we're ready to resize some images here inside Photoshop. Check this out. This is a really cool trick for opening up files inside Photoshop, and it's new in CS4 for Mac users. It's been around on the Windows side for many, many years. Check this out. This gray area inside Photoshop, that background there, if I double click on that, that fires up Photoshop's open dialog box. Really cool trick. So just double click on that gray background. Very cool. If you don't see the gray background, you can go up to the window menu and select Application Frame. Alright, so make sure you're inside the Chapter 3 folder, which is inside the Project Files folder, which you copied onto your hard drive. And the two images that we're after right off the bat here are robotlowres.jpg and robot.jpg. Open those two guys up. Go ahead there. Now, here's the interesting thing about these two images. I'm just going to do sort of a quick side-by-side comparison. One is a low-resolution image, one is a high-resolution image of the same cartoon robot. Now, let me show you this here. Remember this trick from one of our earlier chapters? I'm going to click and hold on this little info area here, and I get this little info box popping up here. And you can see in here, there's the pixel width and height, 360 by 360, and he's 72 pixels per inch there. Okay, good stuff. I'm going to come over to the other side here and do the same thing here. I'm going to click and hold there for a second. And he's 1500 pixels wide by 1500 pixels in height. And his resolution is 300 pixels per inch. All right, good stuff. So we have the same image, different qualities, different resolutions. Now, the only way that Photoshop can tell me that on screen is by setting a different zoom percentage for each image. So you can see the higher res image is zoomed in at 25%. The lower res image is sitting at 100%. So higher res images appear on screen zoomed in. That's the only way that Photoshop can tell you that you have a larger image. Now, check this out. We learned how to zoom earlier in a previous chapter. I'm going to zoom in on this image here. So I'm using Command plus here on the Mac. I've just tapped that twice, or Control plus on the Windows side. Look at all those pixels inside there. Unbelievable. Now, this other image here, I'll do the same thing. Two taps here. Command plus or Control plus. There it is. Look how nice and smooth those lines are. I'll zoom in even closer, even closer. It isn't until 200% where I start to see a little bit of pixelation there. So obviously one image is much higher res, much higher quality than the other. That's the deal there. All right, so let me just zoom back out here. Now, I should say as well that inside Photoshop, we're dealing with raster images. What that means is images that are made up of blocks of color called pixels. Pixels are like, it's almost like a mosaic, a tile work, or almost like a pointillism painting. See the idea there? The closer I get, the more pixels I see, which is completely different from the other type of graphic, which is called a vector graphic. That's where Adobe Illustrator comes in. So Adobe Illustrator deals with vector graphics. Now, a vector graphic could be called line art. It's made up of smooth lines and smooth arcs. I wouldn't see these tiles here, this pixelation here. What I'd get is a nice smooth curve here instead. Okay, so inside Photoshop, we're dealing with pixels, and pixels means quality and resolution, and that's what we're talking about here inside this chapter. Now, when they say pixels per inch, you saw that down here inside this info area here, 300 pixels per inch. A lot of people confuse pixels per inch with dots per inch, or PPI with DPI. DPI is a unit of measurement in print, which is completely different from PPI, pixels per inch, which is used on screen. Now, how this works, this is 300 pixels per linear inch. So 1 inch horizontally and 1 inch vertically. That's how it works. So please don't confuse the two terms DPI and PPI. Very, very different.